Go. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another Real News. We're going to be talking about a bunch of things tonight. We have the Texas abortion law that just passed. We have Hurricane Irma that did damage all across the East Coast here. Hurricane Larry incoming, and Dictator Phil's, or should I say, Black Pill Phil. I have to change all your stuff in the description. Black Pill Phil's epic rant he's going to be having tonight. So, if you want to hear more content like this, you want to stay in tune with the channel and hear more upcoming stuff, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and share with your friends so that everybody can hear it, everybody can watch it, and tune in for more stuff that we have upcoming every Saturday, 9:30. We cover the news for our unique insights. So subscribe to get more of that. But before I think we dive into news, do you want to do your rant first or do you want to do news?
We're fucked, all of us. End of rant. No, I'm just playing.
Very
But
short
no,
rant.
no, no. We are seriously fucked. I mean part of the name change, and the visuals and all that stuff.
Kill the enemy team to score.
I gotta say, I'm looking at the way that Pfizer is basically warlording themselves throughout Congress and throughout just the country and probably the world, and I'm just like, we're fucked. We're fucked. We have a we have a president who is basically a conduit for fucking China. We have um, we have Congress. They're all bought and paid for by somebody. Actually, probably a lot of people. Um, I mean, it's disgusting. And I look at Pfizer's probably obviously you got to bring up Pfizer because of the whole COVID-19 thing. So like, okay, um, let's put this into perspective, right? So, in 2020, Pfizer spent about $13.2 million on lobbying, right?
Mm-hmm.
13.2 million. This year, so far, as of let's see, as of August, which we don't have that the other information yet. They've so far spent around 7 million on lobbying. So like they're spending a heat on everybody. Like you look up, if you look, go to Open Secrets, look up Pfizer Inc. and look up the recipients. It's like half of like over half of Congress basically.
Wow.
Yeah. Like
And,
it's disgusting.
and
It's
how many members of
disgusting.
Congress are there roughly?
Well, so obviously there's 100 senators and there's like 430 some House members, but there's like between 20 between 2020 and 2021 there's there's over 220 House members, and there's about 58 senators.
So they bought off
Um,
all of them? All like
well, they've
200?
donated money. They've donated money to all of them.
Yeah.
All of them. So, but and keep in mind, I had to do some research because it was like, okay, so Pfizer Inc. Most of the um, lobbying contributions are done directly by Pfizer Inc. Like most of it is like they just don't give a shit. They're like, yeah, we're spending money on, we're donating directly to campaigns, whatever. But like but of course you'll have the second degree donations where you're giving to a lobbying firm or you're giving to lobbyists, and then the lobbyists are giving to the politicians, or you're giving money to another company, or you're giving money to another company which hires lobbyists, then they give it to, you know campaign candidates.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like, I mean, they pretty much their influence is absolutely incredible, in a bad way, um, and you would think, oh well, it's like, how can that be that bad? Because some of it, with some of these people, it's only like $2,500. I know somebody tweeted me, "Oh, it's only $2,500."
Yeah, I saw
That's for
that.
the year. That's for
Yeah.
the year. Okay, that's 1 year, right? They don't stop. Like Pfizer doesn't stop, just like donating to political campaigns. Like they do this every year. Like like it's over to it's about, yeah, it's over $10 million a year for the last God knows how long, right? And it's one of those things where, um and we get into campaign contributions, like how honest are your politicians or your representatives or your senators? How honest are they? Are they representing you? Well, of course they fucking aren't, but um it's bad. Um and another thing to look at too, and I was just looking at like the whole scope of companies like Pfizer. The FDA is funded, at least probably over half of their budget comes from like pharma.
Yeah,
Like
that makes
over
sense.
half it. Yeah, it's like, so they used to be completely government funded, but then like I want to say in the 90s they changed it to kind of, they did it because they were saying that they were trying to get to motivate these pharmaceutical companies, pharmaceutical firms, to hurry up with their trials for pharmaceutical medication, stuff like that, because the FDA was taking way too long, like almost like an upwards of like 7 or 8 years, uh, to come out with medications or whatever. Um, but in doing so, you obviously you run the risk of, opportunities for conflicts of interest or opportunities for just corruption. And then of course, like it's an unspoken rule that many of these people that work for FIs or FDA, for the FDA, usually end up going to like a lobbying firm, or they go to work for Pfizer, or they go to work for Johnson and Johnson, or go to work for AstraZeneca. Like this
It's a
is
revolving
like,
door.
it's a revolving door of shady shit, and
Yep.
it's like, and this is and it's not stopping. There's no way you're gonna go, like, no, well, one, I mean, these politicians aren't going to give up their cash. Like that's not, like, they're too dirty. I mean, and it's all of them. It's Republicans, it's Democrats, like it's everybody. Like there's no, like, oh, one's more than the other. No, like all, like every established. I was looking up some of the names, and it was pretty much every establishment name that you could think of.
Yep.
Um, and so I don't know, and the problem, I don't, in order to fix this issue, right, we would need we would need to do drastic shit that our existing Congress does not have the balls to do. Like they're not, they have no desire to do it. They don't have the courage to do it. So it's like we're stuck with what we got. And in this present climate, well, eventually the well's gonna run dry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, it's just gonna, like, you keep bleeding our economy out. You keep bleeding our, you know, what we have out. I mean, eventually the well's gonna run dry. So, I mean, that's kind of what. So, in all reality, that's kind of what black-pilled me at this point, and it's sad, but I don't, I just don't see. I don't see an end, because And I know, you know, some of these people look at Trump like Trump as possibly being a savior, but I'm like, well, even, well, one, are they going to let him run again? Like, even if he says, "Hey, I'm running," are they going to let him even go run again? Like, because I expect there to be some shady shit even in the primary, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna do some shady shit in the primary, and then in the election, yeah, I think it's gonna be bad. I think it's gonna be really bad. And so even if he does get elected, I don't think I think he's gonna get met with just as much resistance, if not more, than he did the last time he was president. So it's like, I don't know. I just don't know. Like he would have like in order, but again, in order for Trump to be able to succeed in the next go around, he would have to do some drastic shit. Like heads would have to roll, like in order.
Figuratively or literally?
Maybe both. But definitely at least figuratively. People got to go. People got to go, and it's like, and the problem. So the big pro. So one of the big problems for Trump, he's going to have a lot of big problems. One of the big problems is going to be, uh, like when he ran last time, he hired a lot of swamp. He campaigned on draining the swamp, and he did get rid of a few people here and there, but he also hired a lot of swamp too. So it's like, you're gonna have to, like, if you're gonna convince people to vote for you again, if you're gonna convince people that, yeah, you're gonna have to address that. You're gonna have to downright address it. You're gonna have to make some ugly. You're gonna have to tell a whole lot of ugly shit. Like you're, and I don't know. I don't know that
I think he's
it,
shown some signs of that recently when he's been talking about these woke TV generals, as he calls
he's.
them. You
Well, I mean,
notice that?
he's always kind of he started saying that on the way out. Like I remember him saying something like that as like, oh, they're just were they're just saying whatever they can and doing whatever they can to get that job for the military industrial complex, like to work for Raytheon or work for Lockheed Martin or Boeing or whatever. And I mean, he's right, but it's also like you're gonna you're definitely gonna have to slash heads in the middle with the military heads too. Like that's gonna have to be, you're gonna have to gut military leadership, which we look. I was in the military. Look, it's top heavy, and it can be very corrupt. So
Mm-hmm.
like you got it. Like that's one thing you have to do. Like if you think you're gonna stand a chance at all, you're gonna have to do it.
It seems to me a lot of these generals, at least the ones we see on TV, are pretty much just politicians with medals.
They
You
are.
know?
They are. They are.
Yeah.
A lot of these people, yeah. So I mean, a lot of these generals, they'll go to college, some sort of army, military college, or even like a regular college, and then they'll be like, a lot of them major in military science, which has a lot of political stuff in the major. So, um, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of that political fiber in the higher, like in the officer ranks.
Mm-hmm.
So you're gonna have. I mean, it's gonna be bad. Like the job that Trump is gonna have to do to really turn shit around. If we are gonna turn, I don't believe that it's gonna happen. But if it were to happen, he would have to. It would be major. I mean, it would just be so major, and um, I don't know. You also have to regulate big tech. Big tech would have to be regulated, and you're going to run against. I mean, you're going to go against everyone, Democrats and fucking Republicans alike. Republicans, and like Facebook. That's another one, right? That's another one here. I'm trying to look up something here too, because um, big tech is you know, that's a big. They're getting into the lobbying game too. So,
Well, see, what's
uh,
tricky is because I completely agree with you that the big money in politics is bad. It controls all these politicians and it buys them off so that they help the corporations, the big corpos, rather than helping people. And the tricky thing is, on the one hand, you don't want money in politics because these big corpos buy off politicians, but on the other hand, you need a lot of money to run a campaign. So you can't get rid of the money, but I think the best thing you can do is limit or get rid of the big corporate donors, um, or at least do kind of like Gates and Green did, where you maybe you start out with it, but you free yourself from it, which who knows if you can really ever do that. But I think the path forward is creating a new, and I know this might ruffle some feathers, but creating a new donor class, a new class of people who are billionaires, millionaires, but they actually want to help people. Like Peter Thiel, he donated millions of dollars to Trump, and there are others like the Mercers who get involved with things like Breitbart and fund it, but they have a lot of money, and I think that's like that's really the only thing I see that's a path forward, because that's why they hated Trump, is because he didn't need the big money. Like, it helps,
mhm.
and he took some of it later to help with his campaign, but he never was controlled by it. He never needed it. Whereas all these other people that are up and coming, that's the leverage. They need the big money. So the big money comes in and says, look, we'll give you this big money if you do this for us, if you do all these things for us. And they go, well, fine, I guess, yeah, sure. And they don't, maybe they're naive, maybe they don't care, but they go in thinking, well, I'm going to do all these things, but maybe help these people out because I have to, but I need their money. And then they get in, and then they get totally controlled and eventually corrupted because they're so deep into it that they lose sight of why they're actually there. So I understand that, and I know that's honestly something that I woke up to in 2016, was because I was younger, I didn't know a lot of stuff. I didn't realize how much our system was bought and paid for by these rich big corporations and these just big industries in general. Like big pharma is the one that kind of goes under the radar because we all know about big oil, big tech, but big pharma is arguably the biggest or one of the biggest,
Mm-mm.
but
Mm-mm.
people don't really know about too much.
You you wanna
You have the biggest?
uh you ready to hear? You're ready to hear this one? It's gonna piss you off.
Oh, here we go.
Take a little wetting the whistle a little bit.
You on Open Secrets?
Yep, I am on Open Secrets right now. By
All
the
right.
way,
What's
always.
it saying?
Well, one of, I don't know if this is the biggest, but it might be. Internet, the internet lobbying sector. Let's break this down here. Facebook gave 19.6 million.
Whoa.
Amazon gave 18.6.
Whoa.
Alphabet, Google gave around 8 million. This is in 2020, one year, right? Alibaba, how the fuck is Alibaba even donating to campaigns? Because they're a Chinese company. Anyway, 3.16 million. ByteDance, another one. Holy shit, 2.61 million. Salesforce 2 million. Twitter 1.5. Go fucking figure.
Mhm.
Tencent Holdings, again, they're a Chinese company. They gave 1.5 million. In fact, Tencent Holdings, the CEO of Tencent Holdings, is an active member of the Chinese People's Congress.
Yep.
Right? Again, how's that happen? How's that happen? Like the foreign like they shouldn't be donating like this. This is the kind of corrupt shit we're talking about, and of course, you got a lot lots of little bits and pieces. Zoom gave 600,000 or some shit.
What?
Yeah,
Freaking Zoom.
yep. So like, yeah. So it's a grand total of 80 million dollars that was spent in.
Whoa. That's a lot. Jesus.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
might be the biggest now. I mean, it
Well,
wouldn't surprise me, but that happened really quickly, you know? Big
yeah.
oil and big pharma have been around for decades. Decades. And big tech has only been around, well, maybe a decade at most. Maybe two if you're going to be generous. Like,
I'm gonna see here. Uh,
wow.
Hold on. Now I just found the page with the sectors.
Oh,
Okay,
nice.
no. Okay, so no. I stand corrected. Um, so pharmaceutical slash health products.
That's the biggest.
They gave
Yep.
309 million.
Whoa.
309 million.
Wow. That that
Yeah,
that sounds about right. Yeah.
and they are far fucking ahead of, well, the next in line is electronics manufacturing and equipment and insurance. Both of them gave around 160 million
Wow.
each.
What
So
kind of companies fall into that? That's a weird
which one?
category.
Which one?
The electrics manufacturing, the 106 million.
Okay. Yeah, so let's see here.
That sounds like
Uh
manufacturing either companies or plants or something.
so Oracle, Microsoft, Qualcomm, Apple, uh
See, you know what that's kind of sounds like the big tech sector then.
well, that's, but see, so they split it up. So you have the internet, which is like Facebook, Twitter, da 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 da. That's like big tech as far as internet goes. And then you have electronic manufacturing. So they
Oh, because they make
kind of,
products.
yeah.
Yeah, physical products, I
So
should say.
right, right. So
Okay, well, see, if you combine then the sector, because I kind of think of them as one a
yeah.
lot of people do.
So
What's that number?
well, let's see here. It plus eight. Well, that would have brought their total up to 240 million.
Ooh, so they're like right behind Big Pharma, pretty much.
I mean, they're still about what? They're still about um like 60 million shy, 80, 60, 80 million shy
It's
of the
still
number.
pretty high up there.
Yeah. I mean, that's like, yeah, so that would be, they're up there.
Yeah, and it's
Uh
impressive considering, like I said, short period of time, massive gains already number two, and it's not slowing down. And they're getting bigger and bigger, more powerful, more influential. I mean, the fact that they almost, I mean, if you're going to call money the big influencer, that they almost have more influence in Big Pharma is insane. Absolutely
right.
insane. So Big Pharma is this global, these massive global conglomerates that have factories all over the world, have doing research all over the world, selling medicine all over the world. Facebook and Twitter, they just have a freaking website. Like, and they're all just in Silicon Valley pretty much. Of course, I'm simplifying it, but the point is Silicon Valley pretty much is controlling the country. We're literally letting one town in America control the entire country.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
So
And I think the good thing is, though, is that to kind of give some white pilling to this conversation, is that the good thing is people know about this now. They're waking up to it. They may not know all the facts, all the details, but that doesn't matter. All they need to know, and they do know, is big tech is controlling our elections. Big tech is doing election meddling. Big tech is buying off politicians. And just in general, that these big corporos are buying off politicians. The special interests are buying everybody off. That wasn't even the discussion. Wasn't even a campaign talking point pre 2016. Like some would talk about a little bit, but very few would actually get mainstream traction. But it's now a mainstream belief. It's now a mainstream issue
I
of
mean,
money in politics.
I mean, it's kind of been. I mean, it's kind of been for a while. I mean, it's not like maybe not in the internet like it
Not
with
like it
big
is
tech
now.
specifically. Not it. They maybe not as far as big tech specifically, but yeah, pharmaceutical like that's been known for fucking decades. I
Oh
think
yeah.
I think over they were saying over the last 30 years they've given almost like about $1 trillion to political
Wow.
candidates. Like yeah, like look, they're like it's not. I mean,
It
this is
it's beyond an open secret now.
it is definitely beyond an open secret. I mean,
But what I'm saying is, what you're seeing now that's different is actually a populist revolution against this. Before, it's kind of like people knew but didn't do anything about it, couldn't do anything about it. Nobody really, it wasn't in the top of mind. But now you literally have candidates running where one of their number one uh, point, their number one issues is, hey, I'm not bought off by big tech. Hey, I don't take donor money. Hey, I don't take special interest money. That wasn't really a thing before, but now we have two members of Congress who don't take any special interest money, and we have more that are coming in that are claiming that they're not going to take any. That wasn't a thing before Trump, but he changed that paradigm.
mhm,
So that's the
sure
little
did.
white pill there.
No, I mean, I just, I don't, not for me, it isn't. Like, I mean, these people at this point, they're brazen about it. They don't give a fuck. They're like, well, we're gonna do whatever we want, and you can't do shit about it. And there's not enough of you to fight us. There's not enough money for you to fight us. There's not enough, like, I mean, we're looking at like this is what I'm saying. Like for Trump to be able to fix shit, he's basically gonna have to go gangbuster warlord on a whole lot of shit. And I don't think people are gonna let him do that. I don't think Congress is gonna let him do that. I don't think like there's uh I I don't know.
Well, I think we're making progress, and I think he'll have a better Congress, assuming take back the House, keep the Senate, and get a lot of these good people that are running in, like Herschel Walker, Joe Kent in Washington, Sean Parnell in Pennsylvania, all these populist candidates that are running. If we get them in, we can start and get rid of the Paul Ryans, get rid of the Liz Cheneys, get rid of the Mitt Romneys. You're starting to make a difference. Now, the question for me really isn't can we get rid of the establishment and replace it with outsider populists? I think that's entirely possible because it is happening. What is the big question is can we do it fast enough? That to me is the big question. It's not
mhm.
can we do. We obviously can, and we're doing it right now. But can it happen fast enough? I don't know. It won't be ready for 2024. But what about 2020, 2032, post Trump? I don't know. I hope so. I'm gonna fight for it, but I don't know.
It's got to be done faster than that. Like it's got to be done. We're talking maybe within the next couple of years. Like it's gonna like, cause at the rate we're going, at the rate we're fucking going, there may not. I mean, I believe in my truest heart of hearts that 2024 could be the last election. If we really, um, if we really think we're gonna turn this thing around, 2024 is probably the last presidential election. If at the rate we're going, I I don't know if we're ever going to see a real presidential election ever again.
Mm,
That's not saying we might not have even had one. We might
yeah.
not have even had one. This like so, but like this is I mean, it's bad, and I'm sticking to my guns. Like I'm sticking to my guns and saying that the establishment, and people are like, oh, Dominion, conspiracy theory, I believe in my heart of hearts that that the establishment, the political establishment, have these voting systems to keep them in office. Believe it. Believe it in my heart of hearts. I believe that these I believe these voting, like, because you look at these voting systems, like you got ESNS. The two main ones are ESNS and the Dominion, and both of those voting systems, they have, they have internet access. They're hackable. I mean, it's common knowledge. They both have the same capabilities or similar capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
And but you have one that's used primarily on one side of the political aisle, and you have one that's used on the other, for the most part. But that's what I believe too. So you're gonna have to get rid of that too. Like, you're gonna have to get rid of those systems too. And again, you're gonna have the drastic shit that we're talking about. We're talking like Liam Neeson on The Dark Knight, right? You're talking about, are you willing to do all that is necessary? Okay, are you willing to do all that is necessary? And it's gonna be. I mean, I'm telling you, it would have to be some drastic shit, and I don't know if we have people right now that are ready to just start swinging clubs and shit. Like, 'cause it's going to require something major. It's going to require a lot of major things. Like,
Well, I mean, the good thing is, in some ways, and in bad, some ways not so good, is our system doesn't like change. It's very slow. But at the same time, we do need things to change quickly. So it can prevent some bad things from happening quickly, but it also prevents some good things from happening quickly. But also, everything can change literally tonight, tomorrow. In politics, everything can change in a day, in an hour, instantly.
Yeah.
Oh, I hear another voice.
it's Sam.
It's Sam.
You got Sam on.
Sam the
on
man.
Phil, I like that you're being black pilled now. We just need to black pill our friend Sean.
Oh no, you
Yeah.
blackpilled too, Sam.
Well, listen, I'm at this point, I am pretty much being forced to be a full anti-vax at this point. I don't want to, but the pro COVID people are just so up people's asses about it. It's not even about being vaccinated anymore. It's about fucking control.
So you're just blackpilled on COVID.
Well, I'm also black-pilled on the fact. I want to say, I don't know if black-pilled is the word.
Well, black pill means kind of doomer, like, oh, it's never gonna get better, it's never gonna be good. It's kind of like that sort of mind. It's nihilism.
Yeah.
But I am.
Or
But I am.
defeatism.
Well, I'm pretty close to. Black-pilled. I have to say, I am a little shocked at how. And I mean, I guess now I shouldn't be, but I am a little shocked at just how people just rolled over when the lockdown happened, and like no one questioned, anything that was going on.
Well, that is what's kind of, I will admit, is one of the things that is discouraging for me, is how meekly and easily Republicans just rolled over and sat back and let two big things happen. They let an election get stolen from them, and they let their governors shut down their businesses and shut down their state. They just let it happen. They let it all happen. And they could have prevented it. There's, 320 million people in this country, and only a handful of people that run it. I'm not saying doing anything violent. I condemn violence, and I think it's simply just counterproductive, and also morally wrong. But you could have done simple civil disobedience. Everybody. But nobody is willing to do that. I've done it. Other people have done it, but not enough. So that does discourage me, but at the same time, I do know that especially in this country, but humans in general are very reactionary and slow and lazy. But when things get really bad, they all suddenly wake up and things get better. So I think, unfortunately, I'm not an accelerationist, but I think things still need to get a little worse for people to get off their asses and do something.
Right. But here, okay, here's where I am a little, um again, I'm not completely blackpilled, but here's my concern, and here's a concern that Alex Jones, peace be upon him,
King,
um
legend.
um Alex Jones is basically my equivalent of Muhammad at this point.
I say he's my spirit animal.
Um Alex Jones said years ago that his big concern was that he said people are going to wake up to what's going on, but are they going to wake up fast enough?
Yeah.
Or by the time people wake up, will it be too late?
That's what I was just saying to Phil, is I think we can fix things. It's just, will we fix it fast enough?
No.
And it needs to also be not just like a conservative thing. This is what really irritates me, and I'm sorry if you're listening to this broadcast right now, Jeff Hamill, but you fucking know I'm right about the Texas abortion law being equivalent to COVID. It is super ironic to me how the same Karens who are literally screaming, put on a fucking mask, are the same people who are now crying, oh, Texas banned abortions at 6 weeks, body anomaly, the government can't impede on my body like this. Meanwhile, they want to force everyone to forcefully take a vaccine that we still don't know the full range of effects on.
Well, and the other thing with that, too, I have two things to say about that Texas abortion bill, because that was going to be our main subject for tonight. Number one is, I agree, and Tucker had an amazing monologue a couple nights ago, opening monologue about the hypocrisy of everybody on this, because they're like, oh, my body, my choice. They've been saying to us for decades about abortion. Until it came to the vaccine, then it's like, well, that all stops now. But then they'll say, well, but the vaccine doesn't just affect you who's taking it, affects everybody. Doesn't abortion do the same thing with what's inside your body? Doesn't it? Even if it's live or not, you can debate that, but you're still stopping a pregnancy that would be happening. So it does affect other people. But secondly, and more importantly, I think the bigger picture of this is, let's zoom out from the Texas bill, because my personal belief over the past couple years, because I really don't have a hard stance on abortion. I'm pretty moderately pro-life. That's like my personal choice, my personal belief, but I'm not too forceful on it, because I know how touchy abortion is, and I think it's not really going to change much, except I think now we're going to see some changes. But my basic belief has been a heartbeat is a life. When your heart ends, you're dead. So, we can debate if where life begins at wherever. But I think the clearest point we can all agree on is a heartbeat. So I think that's reasonable. And if you can't make up your mind from 6 weeks after missing your period, I don't see any excuses for not being able to have it personally. But I think this bill is not about any of this. You want to say something, Greg?
Right. Well, and kind of here's what I will say. So I am pro-life, and I am a Christian, but I am not pro-life because I'm a Christian.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. That's fine.
I was born at 24 weeks. And so I was like a real premature baby. So I was born at 24 weeks, and there are pro-choicers out there, quote unquote, they're pro-abortion, that still want to abort people, that still want to abort babies at 24 weeks, and not consider it, uh, a baby at that point. And you know, that to me is, basically like murder.
Well, and I think we can all agree that third trimester is insane. Like, aborting a baby at third trimester is insane. If you have
But
not made up your mind that long, like, holy shit.
but see, but and see, this is the crux of the matter on the abortion laws too. It the radical people who really want abortion, they want partial birth abortion because they really are literal satanic demon people.
They're demons.
At that point. Um,
Well, I think, too, the other thing that's very
So,
important to consider, too, in your position especially, is
um,
there are a lot of people who, when they
yeah,
do
I mean, abortion in terms of
I don't know if you can hear
legal
me.
stuff is a sticky situation, but like I said, the thing that really kind of gets me the most is the glaring hypocrisy. Um,
Mm-hmm.
with between COVID and it and this other law and everything. So,
Well,
I think that I think that they I think that
you still there?
if you're thinking about getting a
Oh,
third ser-
lost you.
yeah, we can't hear you, Sam.
yeah, we can't hear you. Uh, if you're thinking about getting a third trimester abortion, they should make you watch a video of how it's done.
Yes.
Right.
Can you hear us, Sam?
Where,
Nah, this
where
thing's
they
still fixing his
where they,
shit.
where they basically suck the brains, cave the head, and then pull it out. Like and if you're still willing to have that abortion without after seeing that, like, you have no fucking heart. Like,
Yeah.
there's no. I mean, it's just like there's like it's a special brand of evil. Like, you can't. I don't know.
To me, it'd be like have you seen Juno?
Mm-mm.
Well, there's that scene where she goes into an abortion clinic to get an abortion, and then she just, like, she's gonna do it, but then she just can't handle it and gets out. I feel like if you show people the video, if you're a human with a heart and a soul, you would be like her. You'd be walking out. Because it's like, you see, it's sick. It's awful. It's like, at that point, I don't know how you could do it. If you consider life now, I just couldn't do it. But I don't know if Sam's still here to hear this, but I think the bigger picture of this Texas law is not only is it a win for pro-life activists, but I think what it's really about is keeping Texas red. Because you always hear of people, well, you don't like the COVID mandates here in state, move to another state. And then you hear from the pro-lifers, like, well, if you don't like our abortion laws, move to another state. Maybe that's the point of it. Maybe the point of it is, and I don't know if this is true, this is just my speculation, like, what if the point is to stop Texas from turning into California with all those people moving over and go, well, you don't like it here? Leave. Go back to California. Go back to another state with more pro-choice, pro-abortion laws. Don't come here. That could be it. I mean, honestly, if it is, it's pretty genius. Like, that's a pretty genius way of doing it without literally deporting people from your state, which you obviously can't do. But if your intention is to do that, it's a good freaking way to do it.
I mean, the one thing I don't like about it is the rape and incest.
No exception for that, yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that.
And they keep doing that. Like, the Alabama one did that. This did that. I don't think that's a good move. I haven't researched enough, so I'm not going to say this as my opinion, but on the surface level, it sounds like that stuff about the bounty and about being able to sue, like, the doctors or something, or the people that get the abortion. Like,
why would you open the gate, dude?
Like, I don't know if that's, I don't know if the law actually says that. So,
Freaking defending. You don't want to open
it could
the
be
gate?
a good or bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, hey, if Texans wanted to have it,
Yeah,
right, and it seems like they did, um, great.
that's the point of the
I'm okay.
system. Our
Yeah.
our state
I
system,
mean,
states'
if
rights.
if you don't like it, move your happy ass to New York. All right, you know, where you can have an abortion in the third trimester. But you know, hey, it's like this is it's one of those things where it's like, you know, the beauty about the state system is you can have, you know, if you don't like where the conditions in which you are living, you can move to somewhere where the conditions are more amenable to you, right? And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, and I think too, you know, with oh shit, I was losing my train of thought. I had a good point, but that slipped away. Um, yeah, I just forget what I said. Is Sam back on, or is he still out? Okay.
Yep.
Well, I do think you're right. Like, this is the system working how it should. And oh, I remember what I was gonna say, which is on the news they were talking about this bill, and one person that works in an abortion clinic supposedly did 20 to 30 abortions, not per month, not per week, per day. I don't know if it's an outlier, but holy shit. Imagine your job 9 to 5 every day is doing 30 abortions. 30 a day. That's insane. That is freaking insane.
like I don't know. How do you, how the fuck do you process even living at that point?
I know, I couldn't do it. I think, to be honest, I think abortion is going to be one of those things that's like slavery or something that we look back on and we're like, how the hell did we ever do that? How did we do that for so long? How are people okay with that? I really think it's going to be one of those things. I mean, and don't get me wrong, I understand both sides. I really do. Even if it doesn't sound like I do, I really, really do. I know a lot of people who are pro-choice. I understand why they are. I understand pregnancy scares. I understand what it's like to be in those situations, but we live in a time where literally sexual protection is more available than any other time in history, and it's not even like it's still hard to get. It's very easy to get a condom. You get freaking anywhere, at a gas station, at a Wawa, at 7-Eleven. It's not like you can't prevent these things from happening. I mean, there's always problems. There's always a condom that breaks or something, but even when you don't, you know, even when you do have a problem like that, it's still hard sometimes to get pregnant.
Stop me from transmitting.
Oh yeah, the feds heard you talking about abortion, then they shut you down.
Yep, but I'm on my phone now, which is for some reason more stable than the desktop app. I don't know why.
It might be your internet, because it happens to you a few times.
Yeah, well, it happens whenever I get like a new mic or whatever, and you know, it requires me to like do the output change thing. So.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know if you heard it, but the one point I made that I think could be the bigger picture on this Texas abortion law is, I think the bigger play here is to prevent Texas from turning blue. I think, because you hear a lot of people that say, well, you don't like the COVID rules here, move to another state. And so Texas went, okay, you don't like the abortion laws here? Move to another state. Maybe that's the point of it, is to get a lot of these people that come from California out of Texas, or at least stop more from coming in, because they can't deport people. They can't just like say, oh, we're not going to let anybody from California come in. I mean, I guess maybe they could, but it's not going to happen. So maybe this is big picture, the play to keep Texas red is to literally prevent people and to get people out of their state, because this is something people would literally move over for some people. So maybe that's the play here.
Yeah. No, I think it is. And hey, I'm all for it. Let's drive the commies out of Texas back to California. Although if Larry Elder wins in California, things are gonna change.
If he has enough time, because he will be in till the next election, which I don't know when that is technically. But if he has enough time and he moves really quickly, he could turn things around or stop some of the bleeding, and hopefully California wises up and gets somebody better. But I don't know. I mean, I'm all for him, and I think what he's doing is a good thing, but I don't think California is honestly even worth saving. Like, I think it's too far gone. I think you don't have a population that's going to vote for another Republican. You just simply don't. So it would be too short term.
They would. He would. Would he have enough time?
1 minute remaining.
Should he pull this off? And I'm very. I don't know.
I think it's 50-50 chance that the recall happens. Because Newsom is panicking. He's literally calling the White House in a panic. He's not behaving like he's, got this in the bag.
Newsom's got decades of corruption on his side. I think, I think he'll be all right. But I think should he win? Should he?
Yeah.
Would he have enough time to replace Dianne Feinstein? B, try to do something with the voting systems in California, because we know they're probably corrupt too. And C, do something to try to change the super majority. And like, if you could do those things, maybe that could put some cracks in the foundation enough to really kind of, put them on the ropes. But I feel like that's probably the best he could probably do.
Yeah.
As governor.
Well, I think the other thing to keep in mind with just change in general is you're not going to change the world with one man in one term, with one, position. It's about laying bricks after bricks after bricks of incremental change. And that's the thing people what I don't like about people with Trump is they think he's this god, he's going to come and save everything and change everything. He literally can't. Like, it's just never, no matter who, he could be Jesus and he wouldn't be able to do that. Like, you could vote for Jesus for president and he couldn't change everything.
And
it's a slow process.
And for me, I'm saying that even that, even that won't be enough. They would have to, so in order to turn this thing around, the very first thing would be they have to win back the House, have to win back the Senate. They'd have to keep the House, they had to keep the Senate, and then Trump would have to win. Then, once they do that, are we willing to do the drastic shit necessary to save this country?
I don't know.
It's multi-layered.
Yeah.
It's a multi-layered thing to be able to fix this, whatever the fuck is going on here. This is why I'm black-pilled. I don't think it's gonna fucking happen. I don't think we have weak, corrupt people that are running this country right now. They're not gonna let this thing go without a dogfight. And they've shown that they're willing to go as dirty and low as they possibly have to keep whatever they have. And we have a Republican Party that just is not willing to go anywhere close.
Well, and I think that's even though I'm not black, but I think it's an important point still, which is, hey, we can't look at this and think this is going to be an easy fight. We vote in Trump and boom, the work is done. No, this is you think the establishment that has had a stranglehold in this country for decades is going to give it up easily? No, they're going to fight tooth and nail, harder as hard gets, to keep what they have. I mean, and you gotta, like you said, drastic measures have to be taken, and we have to look at it that way, that this is going to be a hard fight. it is a fight. It can be won, but it's going to be hard. And it's a time thing, really, because really the big enemy not only is just the permanent class, donor class, and corporate establishment in our country, but it's China too. And I personally think China is going to be kind of like Nazi Germany, has a quick rise and a quick fall, but can they do enough damage in that time to bring us down far enough that's going to take us a long time to
Hot,
get back to
hot,
glory?
hot take. China is worse than Nazi Germany in my book.
I actually agree. I agree. I think
What-
when it's all said and done,
They're
when
wealthier. They have more people. They have more land. They have
They-
more.
they've
they-
done
and
more
they have-
damage in some
Yeah.
ways.
They've been around a lot longer as like tyrannical shitbags. Um, you know.
Well, I think when we find out, if we find out what really went on in those Uyghur camps, it would make the Holocaust look like a cakewalk. It'd be nothing compared to it. I personally think, could be wrong, but I think
Well-
honestly, like it's in North Korea too, the horrors in those things will shock the world.
Well, and I mean, like, okay, so I know that Glenn Beck was, kind of a cock, in 2016,
Yes.
and I mean, I have mixed emotions on Glenn Beck, but credit where credit is due. I do still listen to him sometimes, and he made the observation that back in the 1940s, people, there were people who knew about the concentration camps and didn't do anything about them.
That's what we're doing with
right?
China.
And he was saying something. So yeah, Glenn Beck said that, but then he also said we have Disney making movies near the Uyghur concentration camps, and they're thanking the Chinese government. It's so what Glenn Beck was saying was that Hollywood did the same thing back in the 40s that they're doing now, where they know what's going on, but they're choosing to ignore it because
Money.
it's not. Now, of course, they won't admit to that now, but that was the way things were. It's kind of like that saying: the more things change, the more they stay the same.
Mm.
Well, I mean, you
So-
you also look at the United States back in that time. Back in that time, you had a solid religious. You had this solid religious imprint, religiously moral imprint. I'm trying to word that correctly. Anyway,
Yeah.
so you had it in the schools, you had it in the churches, you had it in the government, you had it in a lot of even in a lot of the businesses. There was this morality. There's a religious based morality there. We're fucking morally bankrupt
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
Our schools are fucked. Our businesses are fucked. Our non-government organizations are fucked. Our churches, a lot of our churches are fucked. You have so many things. You have so many things that are fucked. You got churches. You got churches now that are doing same-sex weddings. What the fuck? You can't you're Christian. If you're Christian, men aren't supposed to marry other men, right? That's not so why the fuck are you doing it? Why? Because they want that fucking they want those ties. They want that money coming in, right? They don't give these people that run these churches. They stop giving a shit. They don't care. They're willing. There's no morality. There's no sense of morality with a lot of the churches that are in this country now. So it's not in the government. There's no morality in the churches. The judges. A lot of the judges are corrupt. A lot of the fucking. I mean, the DAs are corrupt. You got. I mean, it's ooh. I mean, it's right now. Our conditions are worse now than they were in World War II. I mean, I firmly believe that. firmly believe that.
What? So here's what I want to know. This is the whole reason why I came on. I want to know what made Dictator Phil decide to become Black Phil. Phil, like,
I did explain. I explained it in the beginning of the show, but I'll say it again. Fuck it. Why not?
Just for you, Sam.
Look, I was looking at Pfizer, right? I was looking at how aggressive Pfizer was with both their lobbying, and they're aggressively pushing the third. They're pushing the third booster shot. They say they're I think they're trying to push a fourth. They're going to try to push for more, and they're trying to push for other like pill form. Like they want you completely glued on their fucking shit. And here's the thing, like, and so I was saying this earlier, in 2020, last year, Pfizer spent 13.2 million on lobbying efforts, right? Lobbying for Congress. They've already spent about 7 million this year, right? We barely got into September, and they're already at 7. So, this is kind of what they got, like, when you look up and you do your research and you look at how many politicians Pfizer money has touched. It's like over half the House, over half the Senate, and the current president of the United States. Like, they're it's bad. It's just so bad. And there's nothing there's nothing that's really going to change. It's like these corrupt, and not only that, you look at the pharmaceutical companies, right? The pharmaceutical stuff. We were just looking at that with open secrets. They gave in 2020, they gave like $306 billion in political contributions. Like, what the fuck? Like, this kind of, like, we're corrupt, and I don't think we're not going to be able to change because we have an establishment class that's making damn sure nothing's going to change, and I don't think that the people that can make a change have the strength or the stones, or are willing to go the lows that they're going to have to go to fight, to be able to, make any sort of changes. So yeah, that's essentially what got me blackpilled.
well, I got blackpilled on the pharmaceutical companies a while ago, because every single ad on TV, like every other ad, is for some like drug or something, and
Yeah,
like
the media companies. That's the great point, dude. Great point. And the media companies aren't going to say shit because the media companies are getting Pfizer fucking money too from the ads and all that shit. You think they're going to fucking risk losing advertising money? You're out of your mind. They spend billions. They spend billions upon billions in advertising revenue. The media is going to keep their fucking mouth shut.
I remember Trump did something about the ads on TV. I forget what it was. Like, maybe they had to, like, list all their side effects. I forget what it was, or list their price. I forget. He made some sort of change to that. But the thing that really woke me up about the pharmaceuticals was finding out on 60 Minutes, of all sources, that they were buying off politicians to put loopholes in laws to literally keep the opioid crisis going. So literally hook people on opioids
Purdue.
and kill people.
The speaking of which, there's another thing that happened. I think this week, the ex CEO of Purdue Pharmaceuticals was found that he's basically shielded from any future lawsuits or some shit like that. Like, yeah, it's dirty. It's some fucking dirty shit.
Yeah. I would say my current state is I'm definitely not black pilled. I would say I'm OD'd on red pills. I've seen so much
Yeah,
crazy shit that I'm like,
yes.
whoa, like my brain is like contorted and all like mushy from it. Like the things that really shook me are 2020 election being stolen and Americans doing nothing about it, COVID lockdowns and all kinds of COVID taking away our freedoms and nobody doing shit about it,
That
and
that is
the fact that the intelligence communities have all literally committed or staged terrorist attacks and other tragedies so that they can get power and keep getting their money. And I think that was a pretty big thing. I'm trying to think of anything else that really shook me recently. But like those are the real big things that kind of made me go, "Whoa, this is too much. This
well
is too much."
well well Shad, that is actually a perfect term because you asked me if I'm black pilled and I would say no, but I'm at the point now where like where I where like I where like I have to ask myself at least once a day, am I the crazy one?
Yeah, yeah. No, I feel
Like
ya. I've said to
you know,
myself so many times.
like you know, like you know you've gone completely insane when you no longer ask if you're crazy, right? That's kind of what they say. Like a sane person will still ask if they're crazy, you know, um, and and whatnot. I used to make fun of a certain streamer for like cackling madly in his backyard.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I have my drink. You can say it. Begins with
Well,
an
yeah,
O.
yeah. Well, I'm not saying that Owen is right on anything because like
He's
he's
not.
retarded. He's 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 retarded. But I am like I am I'm not saying I'm starting to crack, but like at one like how do people not see? I think what frustrates me is like so much of this is so obvious to people like you, me, Phil, my stepdad. He and I actually talked about this very thing like after dinner, like how people don't see this shit for what it is. Any of it. It's like beyond frustrating
Well,
sometimes.
I feel you, but since 2016, there are way more people that are red pilled like us that weren't before.
Oh
It's
yeah.
a rippling effect where Trump is at the center and then the red pills just rippled out. Like that is something that gives me a lot of hope is that there are more people awake than ever on what's really going on. There are more people influencers that are telling people what's really going on. And there's a lot of people who know what's really going on and are outsiders and populists that are running for Congress. Laura Loomer, Joe Kent, Herschel Walker, Larry Elder, I mean, that's technically governor, but you get the picture. Sean Parnell in PA, and countless others that I probably don't even know their names, or I'm just forgetting off the top of my head, but there is a populist revolution happening, and like the French Revolution, like the American Revolution, it's going to be bloody, it's not going to be easy, it's going to be hard, but we can win this. It's just, like Phil says, like I will agree with him totally on this, is are people willing to do what it takes to win? That's what it comes down to. I'm willing to do what it takes. I am doing stuff that's really risky, that is kind of career ending, and could potentially be financially bad for me. But I'm doing it because at this point, 10 years ago I wouldn't be thinking like this, but I'm at a point where I'm like, we're in such dire straits. We can't. We have to do something now or never. If we don't do something now, it's gonna be too late. And I've seen other people say the same thing. A lot of these people that are getting involved, that's something I noticed in 2016 that was really inspiring, and I'm seeing it now again, is people that normally didn't get involved with anything political are getting involved because of Trump. And they're getting involved because they realize how bad things are and how they have to act now. or else it's game over. And I think that's also a very inspiring thing. And that's why they hate Trump, really, is of all the other things, like they can't control him. He's actually working against their money and interests. But he is inspirational. That is something that only the best leaders can do. And he has inspired people who normally wouldn't give a shit about politics, would never get involved, who are getting involved in school boards, who are running for school boards, who are working on campaigns, who are running for Congress, who are donating their money to Trump, donating their money to America First populist candidates that never would before. And that is something to me that is very powerful. It's the most powerful thing happening. And that's how you can start turning things around, is by having a revolution amongst the people of everyone. And that to me is where the change can start to happen. But again, the big question is, do we have what it takes to win? And can we do it fast enough? And I mean, if you look at where we were in 16, you look at where we were now, I mean, it feels like two different worlds in many ways, but it does show you how quickly things can change.
Well, like I remember like going back to high school even, which like was for me was like 2009. So granted, like it's been over a decade, but even so, like you used to be able to separate politics and like sports and politics and pop culture. You know, like not everything was political. You could still like joke around about shit and whatnot, and like you could like you could joke around with your friends and not like have it be like some big like controversy. Like you could compliment a girl and not have it be like, oh my god, he tried to irate me, or or something like that. Now the Overton window has gotten like has gotten so like wide that everything is political now.
Well, you want to know
Like,
why it is, really? Is because we're in a revolutionary war. Like, that's really what it's come down to, is people are like in a warlike mindset. We're in a revolutionary war, and people are picking sides, and they're championing them, they're fighting for them, and they're not moving an inch.
what's funny though is there are people like Adam Carolla, right? Who Adam Carolla recently said like, I never really like considered myself like a Ronald Reagan like conservative type
Yeah.
that that was never like my gig. But the left has just gone so far insane that like now I am on the right. Not because I changed or anything, but because
They changed.
they went so far left. Like it is a little it is funny to me, but also like telling that back in 2016 like the babes, like I always cite the babes for Trump phenomenon as like a prime example of this. Like we're the ones that use sex to like sell Trump as like the candidates, and they were the ones who were like, oh, how dare you use hot chicks with big boobs to we're triggered. That's bad. That's just marketing. There's no substance there whatsoever. It
Hey,
was
boobs
like,
sell.
yeah, but like that used to be more of like a
Yeah.
that used to be more of like a liberal thing. So
Now they're saying you're beautiful no matter what size you are. You can be fat and beautiful.
yeah, I find it funny that people use to make. I mean, people still do make fun of Jenny McCarthy for being like an anti-vaxxer, but I'm starting to think that the anti-vax people might not be as crazy as we thought they were.
I think that's what people think because of COVID, but I think maybe there was a time and a certain
Well,
condition they weren't, but I think for the most
I,
part they are, because both vaccines are safe and effective. But when you're in the situation we are now with a rushed experimental vaccine that does help some people, and maybe you shouldn't take it, maybe you should, that's where things are different. That's where it's like, okay, I'm vaccine hesitant. I'm not anti-vax. I'm just COVID vaccine hesitant.
I think the gauge has changed too, because like you're talking about like people that are being viewed as crazy.
Mm.
Well, well, to who, right?
And in
A
what
corrupt,
context?
yeah, what a corrupt media that's been bought and paid for by the fucking, you know, by so many outlets. Like
20 years
we
ago, it'd be
used to
beyond the
say,
pale.
it'd be like, oh, it's conspiracy theory. Well, if these corrupt fucking media people are calling you a conspiracy theorist, you're probably right. I mean, that's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at. Like, and that's sad because when we used to talk about like in the '90s or whatever, '90s and 2000s, early 2000s, it's like, oh, well, that makes sense. Like these people are conspiracy theories. Like you look at like the fucking Davidian, like the Davidians or Church of the Davidians or whatever. Like, oh, these guys, that's conspiracy theory, or what Heaven's Gate. Oh, they're conspiracy theory. But like now, it's like it's like we've seen how corrupt the media is, and now the gauge is destroyed. Like, yo, you don't get to fucking tell us what's a conspiracy theory or not anymore.
Right.
Like everything they tell us no longer has the same weight that it used to. So we have to basically take whatever they say with a grain of salt now, or a huge grain of salt. In fact,
Yeah.
enough salt to fucking kill you.
No, I was just gonna say though, I'm a bit surprised that Phil is black pilled because Phil is too funny to be black pilled.
There's a good chance I might end up being funnier.
Hey,
Like
there
I
we
mean that
go.
there's a good chance because I mean it's like because I am because like nihilists are very funny. Like people don't understand how funny nihilists
Are
actually are.
they? They seem to always be like the more depressed people.
Yeah, but no, I mean
But then again, most comedians are depressed, so.
yeah. So,
So what do I
um,
know?
Phil,
but what's up?
Phil is also like 40 though, so he kind of
Yeah,
deserves to be
just
like.
bust my age out like
Yeah,
that.
what the hell, Sam?
Fucking ass, man. Jesus.
I I'm not as much of an asshole as Jeff, who's like I'll debate anyone, but I'm afraid to debate Phil.
Whoa,
So
shots fired.
Damn. Yeah. I mean, the problem is I think the problem is with some of these people on the left that want to debate people like
Debate me, bro.
they are they only pick fights that they think that they can win.
Yeah.
Like I
Can
do.
you blame
Look,
them?
I'll debate anybody, and because I'm not scared to lose, because if I lose, that means I gain knowledge like that because if I get stumped by someone, then I'll research, I'll do research, and maybe I'll learn something new. Maybe I'll you know maybe I'll improve my debating skills or something like that. Something like I'm not scared to lose. Like I don't like. But I mean I've done way too much research that nobody should fucking do. 'Cause-
yeah, I've yeah, same here. I've just observed to I've just observed like too much like weird behavior from people. Like the thing that gets me is like, okay, so like my view on that vaccine is like I'm not going to take it yet because it's largely untested. And the last time I got like a flu vaccine in high school, not even high school, I was like in middle school the last time I got it. I ended up getting like the exact same flu that they were trying to prevent, and I got like fucking sick as a dog. So like
It
ever
probably
since,
mutated, and then the vaccine wasn't um, good enough against the mutation.
well, yeah, but my point is like yeah, they injected me with the fucking virus, and then it mutated. What's
Right.
so that's kind of my thing. Is like, what's to say that that shit isn't going to happen with the COVID? Like they literally stick you with the COVID virus, and then it mutates. And if it's as bad as they say it is, then I'm fucked. And when I say I'm fucked, that means anyone who gets it. So like, I would rather I would rather risk not. I would rather risk getting it without the vax. And like, I've explained that to people, and they're like, "Oh, you're just crazy. You're just a conspiracy theorist. Just get the, just get the jab. You damn. And it used to not be that way. It used to kind of be like, okay, well, I got the flu shot, but if you don't want to get the flu shot, that's cool. Now it's like people get like almost violent if you don't want to get the. If
Yeah.
you, so.
It's ridiculous because, like, you look at the numbers, and yes, COVID is more infectious and deadlier than the flu, but mostly, overwhelmingly, it's for the vulnerable populations of the old, fat, and people with pre-existing conditions. Most people don't fall into those categories. If those people that are vulnerable want to get the vaccine, they can do it. If anybody wants to get it. But don't make me change my life, ruin my life, and suffer as a healthy person because of you, when you
Yeah,
could protect yourself.
well, my friend who's a streamer on YouTube, Semper Reloaded, he's like he work so he works like in a hospital, but he does like hospital like IT administration work. So like
Mm-hmm.
he can do so like he's kind of like Alex. He can do like a lot of his stuff from home if he wanted to.
Right, right.
He doesn't want to take the vaccine because of religious reasons, and yet his hospital is like threatening to fire him
Jesus
if he
Christ.
doesn't. And so like, he said that if they fire him, he's just gonna become like a full-time streamer. Uh, if that's the thing. But like, that's the point where we're at, and it's like, oh well, the government isn't enforcing it, so what's the problem? And it's like, yeah, but when your company is threatening to fire you simply because you won't take the jab, even though you're like one of their top employees, that's a problem. So
Yeah, I think it's insane. I understand why companies mandate vaccines, but I think they shouldn't with the COVID vaccine, given how controversial it is. It just, I don't get it. I just don't get the fear that these people are acting on. And the reason I don't get is because it's fear. It's irrational. Like, you see these people at Penn State. They're professors that they wrote. First of all, they did 2 protests, and now they did a second op-ed where they're yelling at Penn State for not mandating the vaccine. They want to mandate the vaccine. Dudes, we just got the data. Penn State literally this week just said, hey, 86% of students have submitted vaccination status. So that means 86% are fully vaccinated. That's like a gajillion times higher than the national average. National average is like what, like 55% ish of fully vaccinated, and Penn State's 86%. They're 30% higher, 31 exactly, but 30% higher. They're being ridiculous. They're being silly. Like, you want the extra like 14% that probably aren't going to get it or want to get it. You're going to force them to get it. Why? Like, what difference is that going to make? You can mask up, you can social distance, do whatever the hell you want if you
right.
want to protect yourself. I mean, it's silly. It's all out of irrational fear.
And also, if the vaccine is so effective, then why do you act like
You're going to
uh
die. Because these
why
people
do
are
you
all
act
vaccinated. That's a joke. All the people that are like losing their shit are vaccinated.
all the people who are vaccinated act like kryptonite is in front of them anytime like anytime someone who is unvaccinated like comes
Yeah.
into contact with them. So here's kind of where I'm at. I just at this point I just want to be left the fuck alone.
Yeah.
I want to be free
Hey,
to,
Sean. Sean, real quick. Sorry to interrupt you. What percentage did you say it was?
86% of Penn State have submitted proof that they're fully vaccinated.
Okay, so they're okay. So according to they're above the
It should be like
The
30%
87%.
above national average.
yeah.
Or
So
the state
no,
average,
no.
I forget.
And I'm not even. Yeah, I'm not even looking at that. So for the ancestral strain, and for the alpha variant, they've
Chad.
already surpassed the herd immunity threshold for those two, legally speaking.
Right.
For the Delta variant, the herd immunity threshold percentage is somewhere between 80 and 88%. So they're
Jesus
within
Christ.
that.
So they
So
got
they're
it.
they're within the herd immunity threshold. So it's not like they need to crack down.
So Penn
on
State has
whatever.
herd immunity. They're fine.
Yeah,
They're as good as it's going to get.
yeah.
I mean, I'm glad you brought that up because it just further shows how silly these people are being. Again, these are people that are fully vaccinated, that go out there and protest with 5 masks on, socially distanced, while outside proclaiming Bear needs to mandate the vaccine. Dude, you're an idiot. You're literally wearing 5 masks outside. You have no credibility. And you're a professor, apparently, which is terrifying.
What also cracks me up is I have seen people like at the bus stop wearing a mask,
Oh, God.
and then they pull out like a pack of cigarettes, light a cigarette, pull their mask up, take a drag, exhale, put their mask back down, and then repeat that every time they want to take a drag on a cigarette.
Oh,
And
my
you know,
God.
and then they're yelling at me for not wearing a mask, and it's like
It's like, bro, you're
okay,
giving me cancer. Like, Jesus Christ.
well, not even that. You're smoking, you're giving yourself cancer, but yet, coronavirus is so dangerous, but let me smoke a fucking cigarette because that's so much.
That's safer.
Yeah.
So they're giving themselves cancer and giving other people cancer, and they're mad at people not wearing masks around them. Okay. Very
Yeah,
well thought out.
Yeah, that's what Apex and I are laughing at. This whole thing is just it's theater at this point.
Oh, and if you vape, it's even worse.
Oh, God.
Hey, speaking of vaping, what's up?
What's
You
up?
would come in at that time.
No, they're I was looking at a study, and they were saying that that vaping from the COVID-19 perspective is actually worse because
Alex.
the vape liquid actually crystallizes in your lungs, and therefore is much more what the fuck, how did they say it? I spend way too much time reading these fucking studies too. I need a life.
Hey, we had one yesterday.
Phil,
Yes.
you need to follow more diva accounts on Twitter, bro. You'll be happy.
No, I
You'll
mean
be-
those people guys. I'm already looking at it. I'm like, no, you point me in the right direction on a few of them. I'm like, all right, there you go. Because they actually there's some lookers. There's some lookers on WWE. I don't know. And their tone. I like that kind of body style too, because they're very toned and in shape, but they're not like the WWE doesn't fuck around. They're not putting out like the fucking super ripped, like
No.
they're gonna fuck you type shit. Like no, they're very toned, very nice. You know, it's like They have a look to them, which I imagine is probably hell on those women. But I mean,
I posted a one of those like studies that says like I actually said it. I don't know where it's from, but and I think it's satire. But it's like jerking off prevents like COVID-19 or
Incels are fine then.
shit, no.
Incels are
So
immune.
we're gonna be so we're gonna be stuck with incels. Like,
Great.
The incels are gonna be the sole survivors.
We get rid of the boomers and the fat people, and then we're stuck with incels.
Well, I'm dead. No, I'm just playing. No, that will not be what kills me. All the fucked up shit that I've done, it won't be that kills me. That.
So Alex, how's your day been?
Oh no, it's been great. No, I just saw my one friend. He's looking to join the National Guard.
Oh.
So that was pretty cool talking to him. But no, so like actually, you know, I heard you guys were talking about like people smoking with the COVID, and then like the
Were you triggered?
like, no, like I actually saw something like I saw a study, like I don't know if they did a follow up, but I saw in the, like back when it was first in China, like it actually showed that people who smoke cigarettes were less likely to get COVID.
I have
Yeah.
heard that.
Yes, I have heard that. The smoking, the less likely, but they said the vaping was a little bit more just because of the liquid crystallizing in the lungs. Like that was the target that they were that they were trying to.
Well, see, with that liquid, like some of it, because like there's like two different sort of vapes out there. You have your like old-fashioned stuff, and I don't think it uses the crystals, but like the stuff, what was that one that was really popular with kids for a while?
Jewel.
Yeah,
Jewel.
like the Juul style actually uses like some like nicotine crystals, and that might be what they're referring to. Because like it's not just Juul that does it. There's like you can get third-party ones and get special liquids for that uses like crystallized nicotine instead of just the liquid. So that I don't know how much that really matters. I mean, this COVID stuff. Like if you got the
It's a
vaccine, I don't
sham.
know why you even care. You know, if you got the vaccine, who cares what you do?
Tell that to
You
these
know?
Penn State professors that keep protesting outside with 10 masks on and asking to mandate the vaccine while they're already vaccinated.
Yeah, like that. It's just so stupid. Like, you know, that's one of the biggest carrots. If you want to get people to vaccinate, just say, hey, you don't have to go and wear a mask. Like, that's why I got my vaccine. If I was told, hey, you know, you get your vaccine, you still got to go and mask. I'm like, why? Why do I even want to do this?
Yeah. And that's where I hope, and people are slowly rising up. They need to rise up a bit more, a bit quicker. I thought that'd be the breaking point because we're all told, hey, get the vaccine, you can throw away your mask and get your life back. And scratch that. Never mind. Actually, you need to mask up again, and yeah, we might need to lock down again. And yeah, fuck you. You need to get a COVID passport to get into like a restaurant. It's like, what are we coming to? It's not America. It's not what America is.
Well, it's
should
like,
be at
yeah,
all.
Well, most of these pansies, they're probably vegan or some vegetarian or some bullshit. Like they're not getting enough of protein. They're not getting enough protein from their quinoa salad to fucking fight off the virus or whatever.
Dude,
Like,
anybody,
they're
if you're a healthy human being and you're vegan, you're falling for a marketing scam. You want to talk about scams? Our favorite topic, veganism.
yeah. The FDA, we were talking about the fucking FDA. Like, yeah, their definitions are totally fucked. When you're talking about like what's vegan or what's organic or what's free range chicken, like what free range, the definition
Yeah, that's a
of free
scam.
range, all that. Like no,
Oh God.
the FDA definitions for all of that shit are totally fucked. They're the most
Yeah.
they're the most legally maneuvered shit ever.
Yeah,
Like, you're
organic free range bullshit. Yeah, it is. They go like find like layer the law and they do like just enough to go and like satisfy that. And if you actually look at the definitions, you know, like there's so many like weird additives that are technically natural, but like, you know, anyone who's not like a scientist would say, hey, this isn't, you know, natural. This isn't free range. It's all a marketing thing. It's a marketing scam. I don't think the government does that. I think it's like probably some third-party agency do it most likely.
Well, didn't you say a free range, Phil, that they literally can just take the chicken, put it outside for a bit in like a tiny little
No, they don't
open
even
area?
have to put them outside. They don't even have to place them outside. All they
Christ.
need to do is have access to the outside. Right? So
Oh,
basically, they could do a little patch of land and have a fence around that patch of land, and it could be like a fucking three by 3 feet, and that's it.
that's free range, even if they
Yep.
don't go out there. See,
Even
and
if
look,
they
the thing
never go
is,
outside to free range.
I think the thing is, we'd all agree free range sounds like a good thing. We would hope our chickens aren't shoved in like sardines together and are breathing on top of each other. It doesn't sound good, but we want to be treated somewhat humanely as possible. And that's how they get you, is they make it sound good, but it's a scam. It's a lie.
Yeah.
It's like those.
Also, what qualifies as hormones? Like when you're injecting hormones into or you're feeding hormones to these fucking animals. There's certain fine print as to what's considered as a hormone, right? Or what's considered as performance, or like there's like a GMO or like genetically modified or hormone. Like it's a long list. I can't. We don't have enough time for me to fucking read all that shit. I was looking at it and it was like, you cannot be fucking serious, right? Like no. So basically it doesn't matter whether you claim you're a vegan or not. You're probably eating bad shit. Okay?
Yeah.
Just know that.
Well, the big scam with veganism is, number one, the clear thing that you should automatically be suspicious of is every vegan product is more expensive. It's always more expensive, so that means only rich ass white liberals can afford them. And secondly, with veganism, that means you can't eat any animal, anything. Like that includes dairy, all kinds of shit. Like I forget the full definition, the full restrictions, but
No, I don't think you can eat honey.
You're not even supposed to use products. Like you're not supposed to have leather or anything like that.
which is like, okay, then throw out your clothes, like all your clothes, throw out your handbag, throw out literally everything you own. Like even your probably phone has animal shit in it.
Can you even drive a car? Because technically gasoline is not vegan if you think about it, because it's made from dead animals
Oh my god.
over millions of years.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah. Carbon. Yeah.
Can't
That's
breathe.
true.
But here's the other thing: is they market it as it's healthier. That's completely false. It's actually very unhealthy for you, unless you have some weird health condition. But that's a freak exception. But for the average person, it's unhealthy because you need certain vitamins and nutrients to function as a healthy human being, and certain vitamins and certain nutrients only come from meat. They try to recreate it with these like fucking Frankenstein drinks and foods, but
You're
that's
gonna
gotta
start
be
having
disgusting.
3D printed steaks and shit. Like,
Yeah, you talk about those 3D printing ideas we were trying to come up last night, Alex. There's
Oh,
one
God.
of them. But it's a scam.
Well, like,
It's scam. It's unhealthy and expensive. It's a total scam.
Yeah. Well, the issue is too, like, you know, you're gonna have to like basically plan out all your meals, because if you like get one of your proteins wrong, you know, you're screwed. Like I used to have a professor at Penn State. He tried to go vegan for like a few months, but he just couldn't because the amount of overhead to make sure every food, like all your food has to be in alignment. You have to like plan out because like, you know, hey, this bean might have vitamin like B6, but then I need to go and combine it with this like legume that has like vitamin like
bullshit.
B12, and then you're probably gonna, and then most likely you're gonna have to take some sort of special like vitamin anyways, just to make sure you're not gonna die or get like
they're not
scurvy.
honest. You know they're not honest at all about the fucking nutrition facts. Like you're fucking like these people are these hippies are the biggest idiots walking God's green earth. Like
Yeah.
there's like, look at this. It's no GMOs, gluten free, all that shit. Like no, it's you're still eating. Congratulations, you stupid bitch. You're still eating disgusting shit. All right.
You're literally eating like man-made, like disgusting shit. You're not even eating natural shit. You know, and these are the people that are supposed to be natural, ironically. But the other thing too is when the gluten-free one. I'm glad you brought that. That's another scam. Nobody needs to eat gluten-free except I forget what it's called. It's not
Celiac
lactose.
disease.
Yeah,
The
yeah, it's
celiac
that.
disease. I
Those
knew
are the
someone who actually
only
had one of
people.
those.
Yeah, those are the
Fucking-
only people that should be eating gluten-free. Everybody else is perfectly fine.
Fucking Kennedy
Oh man, that.
has.
Oh, go ahead.
Kennedy, the chick on Fox News, she has celiac disease.
Well, like it's a legit disease. I mean, it wasn't like, at least when I saw it, wasn't like life threatening,
no, yeah,
but
it's a
just
legit
it
disease,
was
yeah.
it was like, you know, if you're lactose intolerant, like you'd be farting and you know, get diarrhea and stuff. But it wasn't like a peanut allergy, at least from the case that I've seen. Not saying that there aren't people like this, but everyone that I've seen, it was a discomfort thing. But I remember.
But gluten will make your dick fly off.
I like in South Park.
Yeah, man, somebody got that reference.
Yes. It's one of the episodes I did see.
I haven't seen that one. I had to catch up on that, but no, like, it's just so stupid. When I was at the creamery, you know, they like when I first started there, they didn't give a shit about that. Then like my final year, I think maybe in like the last semester, like I guess people kept asking for gluten free, and they basically like it was like the peanut allergy. And these people, I can bet if we were to ask them like how many of them actually have celiac disease, there'd be like none of them.
Yeah.
You know, like maybe like one or two people, but like they'd make use a separate scoop. Like
Oh
even
god.
my friend who had celiac disease, like if it was a tiny bit, it's not like a peanut allergy. It's not gonna do that. It's like if you're lactose intolerant, you know, like you shouldn't be, you know, eating that. But if you get a little bit, it's not gonna like screw up your day. But it's just if you eat like a decent portion. And like, honest to God, most ice cream, most things don't even have gluten. Like I've seen like gluten-free beef jerky. The only shit that has like gluten in it is gonna be like your breads. So like if it's not a bread and it says gluten-free, it's just a marketing scam most likely. Unless it, you know, that's how it is, because gluten's like some sort of wheat. You know, it's some sort of plant thing.
Right. It's
But
it's the whole gluten-free thing though is a total scam. Unless you're like one of these people that like has that disease, that rare disease, but the thing is they don't market it that way as if it's for those people. They market it as like, oh, this is so good and healthy because it's gluten-free. Oh.
And they're like, look, it's the FDA has labeled this organic. Yes, because the FDA has never lied.